how do you get the best deals on charges and make sure your transfers are safe?
Well, here to give us all the details is Globaleye's private wealth manager, Karim Nakhle. Thanks very much indeed for being with us, Karim.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you because you know what? This is a subject that we get asked a lot about here on the show. I didn't realise it was such a sort of fundamental of expat life. How many people are transferring money at the moment, the world over? But I suppose it is part and parcel of living here, isn't it?
Definitely. I mean, you'll be surprised if you just take the UAE, for example. You have $120 billion that have been, 120 billion dirhams that have been transferred out of the UAE last year overseas.
That's in 1 year?
That's in 2010 alone. So usually, on average, you have 85% of expats that are living in the UAE are transferring abroad large amounts of money on a monthly basis.
Okay.
So it just gives you a figure. So
Talk to me about cost then. I want to know how much is it going to cost me to send back a portion of my salary to the UK? Does it vary?
It does. It does. Essentially, you have three aspects to look at. The first one is how much it's going to send you. It costs you in terms of sender. As a sender, you have a bank charges that probably varies around 15, 20, sometimes up to 50, 60 dirhams per sender. Now, the real aspects of the other costs that you have to look into is the receiver cost. Some bank actually charge the receiver a fee. And this is something that you do not really see. But whereas when you send money abroad, you see that your account in the UK has received far less than what you really were expecting, because there is a receiver's fee. So that's one thing that you have to look into. And the other thing is actually the exchange rate, because when you are transferring currency, you are buying a foreign currency. So when you're sending to the UK, for instance, you're actually buying pound sterling. So that does make a difference. Plus, in addition to the transfer cost itself, in addition to the receiving fee that they charge you, so you might find yourself a couple of quid short of $100 dirhams short.
Well, taking all these things into consideration, what's the cheapest way to do it?
Well, the cheapest way to do it is still with the bank, and still the TT transfer, which is telegraphic transfer by the bank. I mean, it is safer, it is cheaper, and it does take a bit of time, but at the end of the day, it's cheaper than just an instant remittance.
I mean, invariably, how long would it take in just an average period to...
Essentially, if you're looking to send abroad, it does take probably around 3 days. But you have to take into consideration, there's two aspects of it. First one is that we are in different time zones. So when you are transferring in the morning here, it might be already at night there, or it might be still early morning. That's the first aspect. The second one is that you actually have a different in calendars and working days. So when you are actually sending something here on Sundays, they don't work on Sundays, whereas we don't work on Fridays as well. So, I mean, you have to take into consideration those time delays, and you also have to take the public holidays that they might have that we don't have. So you might find yourself sending a transfer probably, you know, that takes 5 or 6 days, and you're surprised, but actually it's this time difference that you have to look into. So the best way to really do it is probably send it from here on a Sunday. It will get probably there by Monday, Tuesday, and it goes into the account. It takes probably a couple of days to clear, so it should be there within 3-4 days.
Just in time for the weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, say we don't have time. Say we don't have so many days to work with. What if we need to do an emergency transfer?
There's always the luxury of instant remittance. I mean, you have lots of companies such as Western Union, MoneyGram, and recognized companies, international companies. Now, they do charge a bit more than the bank, and there's a different charging structure. They actually charge a fee, and they charge a percentage on the amount that you are sending. So it does make a difference. But if it's an emergency, then you have to do it.
Right, true.
If in doubt, are there risks involved? I mean, can one trust those sort of brands that you just mentioned there?
Yes, I mean, there are the international brands recognized all over the world that deals and have branches all over the world, and that are recognized and that are credible. But there's one aspect that you also have to look into, is that when you are sending, let's say, to a small village abroad, you might have the branch might not have enough liquidity or cash to actually give the receiver. So if you're sending, let's say, to London, then most of the shops in London do have enough to pay you 5,000 to 6,000 dirhams, or 5,000 or 6,000 pounds as well. But if you are sending to, I don't know, a small shop in Cornwall, chances are you have to ask the shopkeeper if he actually has the cash or the liquidity to give you the remittance. He might be able to accept it, he might not be able to. So that's a small trick as well.
You know how much those Cornish shopkeepers charge down there? They're all multi-millionaires at the moment, so we'll see.
I mean, keeping their cash in their pockets is what makes them millionaires, probably.
Karim, bless you. Thanks very much indeed. Some great advice for sending and receiving and more. Globaleye.com is the website to get yourself onto to find out more from Karim and all the team at Globaleye. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.